Effect of a family-focused active play intervention on sedentary time and physical activity in preschool children by Marisa V. O'Dwyer. Early childhood is a time to incorporate and promote physical activity. Given the lack of physical activity in early childhood, different ways to promote physical activity needs to be taken, such as involving parents as intervention targets. Involving parents in the intervention of physical activity could lead to healthier lifestyles in children. Physical activity and sedentary behaviors in early childhood can have a significant effect on health. Being physically active during early childhood can prevent obesity, cardiovascular disease, improve body mass index. Insufficient physical activity can have a negative impact on self-esteem and health. Despite the evidence supporting the health benefits of physical activity, it has been shown that children do not participate in enough physical activity during the weekdays and the weekends. Evidence has shown high levels of sedentary time throughout the week. Overview. Studies have shown that physical activity in children have found that parent attitudes, parent behaviors, parenting styles all have an influence on the child's health and behaviors. According to this study, it has been shown that children whose parents have been informed on physical activities such as how, when, and where spent more time with outdoor activities than parents who did not receive any information. There has not been enough information in studies to prove that sedentary behavior in early childhood is associated with watching television, age, gender, and body mass index. Studies do not show a negative association between parenting styles and rules and sedentary behaviors. The purpose of this study is to describe the effectiveness of a family-focused active play intervention in increasing sedentary time and increasing total physical activity in preschool children. Studies have shown that preschool children's physical activity differ on weekdays and weekend days, and further research is encouraged to determine the reason behind this. Methods. Participants were 24 Sure Start children's centers from a city in England and were invited to take part in this study. Sure Start children's centers are a free service for families with children aged 5 years or under and are situated in the most disadvantaged parts of England. Of the 24 children's centers invited, 15 agreed and 8 were randomly selected to take part in the study. The research team would set up a meeting with a member of the staff from the Children's Center, typically a health promotion worker or alternate professional. In this meeting, the research team would describe the study and outline the purpose of the research. The Children's Center staff received information packs and distributed them to the families that were eligible. Information packs contained a participant information letter, consent form, assent form, medical questionnaire, and preschool age physical activity questionnaire. To be eligible to take part in this study, the children had to be registered at the Children's Center, be aged between 3 and 4.9 years old, and not have any significant physical or intellectual disability which restricted them from participating in the intervention or impaired the accuracy of physical activity measurement. The families that have met the inclusion criteria in the Children's Center were invited to take part in this project. The final sample consisted of 77 family and 79 children. Children's centers are randomly assigned to either the intervention or comparison group. Once the children's centers were randomly assigned to their group, schedules for data collection and intervention delivery were set. Intervention design. The study was a randomized controlled trial and was conducted for 10 weeks during the school term from September to December 2011. The 10-week duration time was set to fit the school calendar to observe the short-term experimental effects. Assessments were performed at baseline immediately following the intervention. The intervention was designed using a socio-ecological model. The study focused on the influence of the children's total physical activity and time spent in sedentary behavior by recognizing the social environment. The study used the parents to help promote physical activity. According to the study, behavior change and environmental change are important when promoting physical activity. Figure 1 shows the Children's Center and flow of families through the project. Active play and parents' educational workshops. A user group was informed on both the content and duration of the intervention. The user group consisted of staff members of the Children's Center, which were parents, play workers, professors, and health promotion workers. Informal discussions were held with each user group member separately and notes were taken by the lead researcher. Once the meeting with the user group members were completed, notes were shared with participants to check for accuracy. A draft intervention program would then be created using evidence from the literature combined with views from the user groups. These were then supplemented by resources from programs that targeted preschool children. The programs used for this study was Munch and Move, Unplug and Play, Change for Life, free-range kids, and get kids on the go. Once completed, the first draft of the intervention was shared with an expert group including physical activity experts, pediatric exercise science researchers, a sports psychologist, and researchers working with parents on local childhood obesity treatment program. The intervention would take place every other week and consisted of 5 contact sessions over a 10-week period. Each session would last approximately 70 minutes, 10 minutes registration and checking home activity completion, and 60 minutes for delivery time. Parents and children were separated for the first 20 of the 60 minutes. During this time, the children participated in active play and the parents attended an educational workshop. The remaining 40 minutes of the delivery was spent as one group participated in active play. Implementation strategies. On the first day of intervention, each family received a logbook. The logbook was one of a number of behavior change techniques used within the intervention. It allowed families to self-monitor their home activity. Families were asked to bring their logbook to each intervention session and would be reviewed by a member of the delivery team. The families received a total of 5 text messages during each intervention session. Text messages were also used during the data collection weeks when families wore the accelerometer. Physical activity was measured using an accelerometer over 7 consecutive days. Participants were instructed to wear the accelerometers on an elastic belt on the right hip on the anterior iliac crest. Parents were given a chart to document when the child would wear the accelerometer. A questionnaire was given to the parents before the intervention was completed. Table 1 shows the baseline descriptive data. Results. The independent sample t-test showed no statistically significant differences in sedentary time and total physical activity between boys and girls. Of the children that stayed in the study and wore the accelerometer, the data showed that boys and girls engaged in 542 minutes and 545 minutes of sedentary time during the weekday and 504 minutes and 510 minutes of sedentary time during the weekend. Boys and girls engaged in 115 and 110 minutes of total physical activity during the weekday and 107 and 97 minutes of total physical activity during the weekend. Independent sample t-tests revealed that there was no significant differences between boys and girls or mothers and fathers in the intervention in comparison groups for age. Table 2 and 3 show the estimated effects of intervention on sedentary time during the week and weekend days. Table 3 shows the weekday total physical activity and weekend total physical activity. Conclusion. The study focused on the literature that reviewed the short-term effects of a family-focused intervention on preschool children's sedentary time and total physical activity. The study found that the effect of the intervention was significant in decreasing children's sedentary time and increasing their physical activity. It shows that family approach and the environment can be a factor in improving physical activity in early childhood. By directly involving parents in the intervention program, there can be a positive effect on health benefits. One limitation of this study is that it does not target all levels of the socio-ecological system where the preschooler behaviors are developed. Another limitation was that the study could not be characterized as a community-based research. A further limitation of this study was due to the time restraints. The first set of ideas were not refined and discussed with input from parents of children enrolled at the intervention preschools, but rather from parents involved in the user group. Implications. One implication of this study was to improve the amount of time spent on the study due to time restraints. Instead of using accelerometers, pedometers could be used to measure the amount of steps taken. Another implication could be by measuring children of early adolescence rather than of early childhood. Here are the references.